learning how to have better intimacy with people. And I'm sure that's a broad term. It could be like one-on-one connections, social interactions. It could be also obviously sexually connecting with people. What's helped you sort of arrive to that, Rachel? What's been the evolution for you? And you know, if you could answer that in a minute or two.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I lived in Salt Lake until I was in the end of 4th grade, and then lived in Santa Barbara and then Minnesota until I graduated from college, and then went to San Francisco.
Okay.
And then I came back here, and
Okay.
I've been here for like 13 years now.
Okay.
And I think that's a big question. And I've experienced a lot
Right.
to be
Sure.
like where I am today. But I think
Sure.
that's kind of what I'm here to do, is like do a lot of things,
Right.
test a lot of things out, have a lot of experiences.
Yes.
So I can learn and live a more truthful and honest life, and one that is full.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I definitely know that I have a very like fun loving energy, and I think that's has been innate in me since I was little,
Okay.
because my dad's side of the family is a little more serious, not
Sure.
super lovey, and I was always been like the one that's like,
Sure.
I love you
Yeah.
guys, and
Right.
they're like, ah.
I know. Yep.
And that my dad's family's from here.
Okay.
But I'm not like all like lovey, and there's like a serious and sensual side to me too. There's like I think we all have like the shadow and the light, you know, all of that. So, but in the sense of intimacy, and living an intimate life,
Yes.
I think that I've always been a very curious person and a very discerning person.
Okay.
I also think that I've had some experiences as a kid that made me have a lot of awareness in spaces. So I became a deep empath.
Got it.
And so I think with all of that concoction, it led for me meeting, not meeting, but getting into the realms of understanding deeper intimacy in life and myself.
You're very into like what the body feels. Like I noticed that just like talking to you and hanging out with you, and then also like some of the work you've done. You're very into like the body feels something and it presents itself in the body in some way. And sort of what could you touch on that a little bit and maybe give us an example of how that happens?
Yeah. I feel like that is like the word embodiment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very feminine trait.
Okay.
To be able to like really feel into the senses of the body, the way something smells, and the touch, the taste, the sight, the sound of something, and really to embody a moment, or to embody an experience, or to embody like deep presence, or just like really being there with somebody.
Right.
Or with something, or with some experience, through activating all of those senses and really allowing the full moment to rush in, and allowing whatever to come up really be there. So you might have an experience that is profound, that with all your senses, and you're able to really feel joy, or feel kindness or care, or maybe grief or love, or whatever it is. There's so many ways we can really drop into embodiment. There's more senses than 5.
Right. Well, what are a couple other ones you had to say?
I mean, you get like intuition. There's some more than that. But yeah.
You're one thing, like you really are like so authentic. Like I love your energy. Like it's a very grounded energy, you know, and it's because of number one, you're who you are, and you really like own that, I think. And then also you're just like, you just have just a different vibration. And we talked about you're very smart, but you've really delved into your own mind, and then I guess learned a lot of other stuff and kind of put your own thoughts onto what you've read and like put it out there. And it's a unique mix of like, of a person, you have I feel like, yeah, there's so much. Is there a moment when you like, I got to start listening to my body more? Were you sick? Were you like what was there a moment when you're like, man, I've got to start listening to what my body tells me?
Yeah. I think, yeah, I grew up, I think, mostly more masculine, more logical minded, more like, just get things done, do what you need to do, take care,
Yes.
do.
Yes.
And when I started moving into the realms of consciousness and understood that there was this subconscious mind that was kind of guiding my life a lot of the time, especially with relationships, and I was seeing these patterns emerging, or these blocks or these restrictions from living like a life that I wanted or more authentically, the merging of the masculine and feminine
Yes.
realms came into mind. I mean, that there's more to that than
Yes.
there's way more than that. But what I discovered was that one of my bigger lessons here during my lifetime is to move into the feminine, to move into embodiment, into the body, into a manifestation in abundance, and that is where my vulnerability is in the feminine.
Yeah.
That was where all my work and all my lessons lie. So for the last 7 years, I've been working more in the feminine side of my experience, having lived a very heavy masculine side at the beginning of the first almost 30 years of.
Do you think you felt pressure to like, perform a certain way or be a certain, do something? Do you think that played a factor in your sort of wanting to do so much and sort of feeling the need to carry your own water and so forth?
Mine came from my childhood and having unavailable parents.
Okay.
My parents both have depression, both have addiction. They're both very beautiful people.
Right.
But they didn't have the tools that they needed to take care of me and my brother.
Right.
We turned out to be very beautiful kids, and my parents are very beautiful human beings.
Yes.
But definitely is the thing that made me. It was for survival. So me becoming a more masculine being is because of survival. So I had to take care of myself.
Right.
I had to make sure that I was gonna survive. Yeah. So in a way where it's like,
I can tell I think you're very like productive and I guess successful now, and I know that like there's other ways to do that, but it's almost created like this hard structure of a person who can survive and to thrive in the world,
Mm-hmm.
in a way,
Yeah,
But
for sure. Yeah, I think the people that are willing to face, whether it's societal, systemic, cultural, we have trauma. And whether people want to lean in that, understand it or not, that's their journey.
Something I know you're an expert on is intimacy. And I guess, what do you think, like, our beliefs shape us and sort of, and for you personally, how did your old beliefs shape your view on intimacy, and then how has that evolved?
So we learn intimacy from our parents.
Okay.
And some of our first experiences dating.
Right.
But like how we learn how to love people, our desires, So if we didn't have certain things as a kid, subconsciously we'll yearn for it later on.
Right.
And so for me, can you ask the end of that question?
Yeah, like I guess your old beliefs, how did they shape what intimacy look like? And then how does that evolve to now?
Well, when I started on my conscious path, there was some blocks with intimacy.
Okay.
And I was realizing that there was some subconscious patterns that were guiding my life. And so I was in a long-term relationship, and we weren't being intimate. And we both like wanted to. And that was like the weird thing. It was like we wanted to be intimate, but we couldn't initiate. It was like harder.
Okay.
And so what I was kind of figuring out, like subconsciously, we were both wanting the same desires. And that's kind of where I found Tantra, was within that relationship. I was trying to figure out all these things about how can I fix this? What can we do? You know, what am I missing? And I read this book, Come As You Are, which is great with shame, any shame around intimacy. Because I thought there was something wrong with me. And I think that's something that a lot of people that are having like blocks in their marriages or blocks in relationships where they're either not being intimate or they don't like to be intimate or they're not having good sex or whatever it is, or good intimacy. It has a lot to do with like just the dismantling of shame, that there's nothing wrong with you. Like,
That's so true.
there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah, because I know, like in my own life, just like dating women that like grew up in the church in some way. They like, and not necessarily here, because there's plenty of women here that grew up in the church and they have sexual, functions just fine. But even like across the country, like if a woman grows up religious, they like have a hard time sometimes like having an orgasm, or it takes a lot more. And it's usually like someone who's smart, intelligent. They grew up like in some sort of religious way, and then like I don't know, it's almost like and I've known other women who maybe don't have that, and they're like men. I mean, they can just have infinite amount of pleasure. It's a very unique thing.
Well, and that's a very interesting concept, because in the book it talks a lot about like brakes and accelerators and all of this stuff about understanding like things that kind of maybe make you nervous. But in Tantra, if on a further level, and then what I experienced with my life is you have this sexual energy that builds in your body.
Okay.
So when you're being intimate with somebody, there's this energy that's building, right? We know. But sometimes we keep it inside. Like for me, like when I first started being intimate, I was like, oh, I got to take care of myself. I got to get myself an orgasm.
Okay.
So I'd keep all of the sexual energy inside, and I'd be able to move it around. And so I had orgasms early.
Okay.
Not early on, but
whenever it was.
And then I have friends. And so my goal was to eventually allow that sexual energy to kind of be given to my partner. So that was my block, was that I was protecting myself, so I'd keep all the energy within me, and I could have orgasms really easily, but I wasn't connecting deeper with my partners.
Interesting.
And so people that have a hard time having orgasms, it could be a number of things, but it could be anxiety, it could be performance, like they're more worried about performing or performance, or they're giving all their sexual energy away and they're not keeping it. So there's like this, there's supposed to be like this like microcosmic orbit of masculine and feminine giving or receiving energy that happens when you're intimate with someone. And if one of those currents is blocked, you're gonna not have orgasms, you're gonna not connect, depending on what kind of current that is.
I'm gonna get a little
so
vulnerable here. When I was younger, and like way younger than now, like in my early 20s and stuff, I'd have like these. I would get an erection and lose it, and it was so. I think that's why. First of all, you're here because you're an awesome person and how you treat people. Like I'm sincere. Like everything I do is with great people. Like that's it. Like that's the prerequisite. So it's who you are. But I think you have also just great energy that you share and knowledge and things. And when I was younger, I would like have an erection maybe for a minute and it would lose it. And then I ended up going to the doctor, like a urologist, like 23 years old. And it's so crazy because it's all in your head, At least for me, I know what the blocks you're talking about now, because like as a 38-year-old man, and maybe I just don't care anymore, but like I can now just like, it's so insane, I think, how our mind is with intimacy. It's so crazy, you know. And I think I worried too much about how I looked or how I was performing or something, and then I just had that, and now like, I mean, I don't even think about it, and it never, like I can always get it in, for lack of a better term, but like even that, like when you're younger, sometimes you can't even do that, and like now I don't even care, like it just, and I obviously just, I'm more laid back now, but at the time, and that's not even that big of an issue, or like I don't care to talk about that. I've never talked about anything like that with anybody, I don't think, but like it's just like it is to you personally, it can be such a big deal. You know, it can be such a, I know as a man, it can be such a big deal. I know a lot of men do struggle with that. And they say like Viagra prescriptions for like 20-year-olds is like at an all-time high, and maybe that's other things.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. But I guess there's some stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of it has to do with where your subconscious blocks are, you know, and intimacy it's so important. It's what connects us to everybody, and
I know.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with our childhood, our unmet needs, all of that. And so that book, Come As You Are, is just about shame and letting everyone know that there's nothing wrong with you. Mm-hmm. And it talks about all sorts of really great things about even context, like how people get turned on and not. Anyways, so there's a lot of cool stuff about that book if people are working on shame.
What's the name of that book again?
Come As You Are.
Come As You Are. Okay.
Yeah. And then I ended up listening to this podcast about Tantra.
Yes.
And this was the first time I heard about Tantra, and then went home and like used it.
And I think I've heard you say Tantra is like, it releases the blocks in your body. Is Tantra a way to release the blocks in your body?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
I think I heard you say that.
Yeah. Tantra is basically, there's a lot of levels of Tantra. So you have more like white Tantra, which is more like a religious form, which is about just, it's like, it can be Hindu or Buddhist, but it's more of this religious form of love. And Tantra is the learning the capacity to love and be loved, or expanding your capacity to be loved and to give love. But then you have red Tantra, which is kind of working more with sexual energy. And then you have black Tantra, which is like using it in the realms of like masculine and feminine.
Sure.
Dominant, submissive, stuff like that. But some of the whiter Tantra and the red Tantra, there's just different forms of it. But it uses the chakra system, which indicates where blockages could be.
How can you?
The masculine, feminine.
Yes.
And conscious, the shadow work, inner child work, de-armoring. I mean, it's just very dense. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, it's the like, I am a tantric person. Mm-hmm. Like everything is like a relationship to love things more. Okay. Or to give love more, receive love more, whether it's in a moment with a flower, or if it's in intimacy with a partner.
I feel that about you. I think that's what I felt. I think when I was describing the energy and how you were, I think I felt that you have such a good intent that you want to share with people. Yeah. I think I could read that, you know? Yeah.
And it's about living truthfully. It's about honesty and bringing all parts of you in, whether it's dark or light, and living a whole life where you're walking in truth.
Right.
To love yourself more, to love the others more. But it's about truth and wholeness, and ultimately that's where freedom lies.
Truth and wholeness. How do you know when an emotion is trapped inside of you, or when it's just passing by? Like how do you know when like you need to release something, or as opposed to it's just?
Ooh. Wow. I think that if we are to feel emotion in our body, like, is there an emotion that you can somatically feel more than another? Can you?
Maybe like I feel like I
Like,
don't do what I'm supposed to do, or if I feel like I'm not stepping into my more courageous higher self, then I feel bad that I'm like being a coward or something.
Yeah. And is that a coward? Is that shame? It feels like that's like a little.
I think a little bit. It's like I'm not achieving my potential. I'm not doing what I need to do.
Okay. And does it feel like it sits anywhere in your body? Can you feel it in your chest or
Maybe
your
my
back?
neck.
In
My
your
neck. Yeah. Yeah. The back of my neck.
The back of your neck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The thing with emotions is, when we feel them and we notice them there, we should in some way release them somatically. So like if I feel anger, I'll I'll shake
Right.
it off.
Right.
Or I'll like let it like somatically feel it through my body.
Okay.
If I'm feeling sadness, like I'll like really feel it in my chest.
Okay.
I usually want to cry.
Yeah.
I usually easily allow, but it should be like felt in your head,
Yeah.
in your body, and like I usually will shake or I'll make noise a lot of the time, or I'll like I'll blow in or out, or stretch or shake or dance. There's a lot of people, you just get active, but if you feel an emotion, you should, especially a really intense one, shaking, movement of some sort is a healthy thing. And I mean, it can get, some of them need a lot more than just that. And obviously, if it's a chronic feeling, if it's been there for a long time, then there might be a little bit more work that needs to be done there too. But
And how do you help people? Like what is your joy that you, I mean, talk about how you can add value to people and what you do and so forth.
For me, my biggest gifts, what I have come to learn about myself as I have learned more about who I am and experienced all these things I've experienced, is that what people really need is to be witnessed and really heard and really listened to. But I think I'm kind of like this initiator. I'm also like this spark. I like spark people or initiate them through invitations, through witnessing them. Just to truly witness someone will spark someone.
Right. To truly witness someone will spark someone. Can you elaborate on that? Just like Tate.
Yeah. If you are not afraid of looking at like the truth of who someone is, if you're like looking them dead in the eye and you are like, I want to see you, I want to know who you are, I want to know your truth.
Yes.
And that's all. That's
right.
That's what it is. I think there is something that does activate, in the sense of, at least maybe they don't even know exactly who they are, and that invitation through witnessing is like, oh yeah, I want to know myself more than it's like, I think that's what our purpose is to really know who we are, so we can give back our gifts and more love to the world.
I love that.
Is the more we know ourselves through community, through relationships, through connection, through all these prisms of relationships, we give back our gifts.
Right.
Which hopefully is more love.
Right.
I do a lot of things.
Yes, you do. And you have your charisma. Like, I think you're so, like, not like, this is a good term, but like, you're so charismatic. You have such a great charismatic energy. Like, I don't know very few people who I look at and I'm like, that person's vibe is like really good. You have a really good vibe. You got that Matthew McConaughey kind of vibe going on.
Is so
and it's true. And it's like, you're so centered and grounded in yourself. And I also think I resonate with that because I also work to put that energy out to the world, you know? And I'm pretty good at reading energies. Like I'm really, like I've, as you know,
Yeah.
I go up to random people and just start conversation. So it's a unique thing. And so when you randomly go up, you get really good at recognizing patterns in people and reading energies and vibrations. And it can become like a superpower in and of itself. And like yours is so strong too, where I'm just like, you're very charismatic, very grounded. And also like you have such a good intent and energy that you want to impart. Like your why of living basically is so cool that I want to support it and show it. And maybe somebody can, whether it's through the whole podcast or just through clips, they can, be enriched from it. And we can, you're me in a different life form. I'm you in a different life form. And like, I want to support someone who has this kind of energy, someone who has this kind of mindset, we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I mean, look, but like you can see someone's intent. I'm big on like intent. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to do well? Whether it's for themselves and also for the collective. And then that matters, it's like in the court of law, intent does matter, and intent for us personally, I look at that because you can meet someone at the wrong time, wrong day, but generally you can see someone's intent, and for me, it's like, I almost value that more than anything because we have different skill levels. We're on different places of our journey, but when someone really means well, that's like the divine right there. That's a part of humanity where it's like, let's nurture this, let's foster this, they're trying to help us, and that's why we're here as humans, because we're willing to sacrifice for our fellow man in some way. We wouldn't have evolved to this point in our, history if we weren't willing to think, have forward thinking and also think about others. So you're tapped in. That's I know. See, this podcast, you did for like the first 5 minutes, you were like, what is happening right now? And then you realize like, I'm not that bad. And I can usually, I love learning. I love sharing. And I think, like you said, like it's awesome to do that because people can, at least at some point and in some way, be their, true self to a degree, And just have a couple more questions. I have so many questions about energy and stuff, but I want to, what would you say to someone who like feels numb or disconnected, disenfranchised in life? What would you say can be advised to them?
Numb?
Yeah, just like they're just like giving up. They're just like they want to stimulate themselves or appease themselves with like drugs or alcohol or something. They just want to feel numb. They feel numb. They feel like they can't quite, they don't want to, they don't quite know what to do, but maybe they're turning to some other alternative way to sort of make it through the day, I guess.
Well, numbing out is like I probably would want to maybe understand. Maybe he or they doesn't feel like they belong. Was what I would maybe. I wouldn't want to assume any of this. I'd probably have a lot more questions, and I would really want to feel them out a lot more. But like someone that's numbing out has a lot to do with like belonging. They might be dysregulated, and so they're out of body. And I mean, there's probably a lot of approaches could go with that. I'd probably want to check in on give them they probably are having a deep amount of anxiety, disassociation. Maybe they don't feel like they belong, but all of these I'd have to be asking lots of questions for this, but I would, and sometimes it's hard to get in the body because that's very truthful. So there's a lot of stages and steps of, getting people in their body, making it feel safe to be in their body, getting in spaces where they feel like they're being regulated, taking some long walks, learning to breathe in a way that helps them get out of like fight or flight and
Right.
maybe get in a rest and digest or something like that. Or there would be a lot of questions I would be asking, I guess. But belonging is the big one of why people are depressed and disassociating from their bodies these days.
Yes. I heard you talk about sexual energy earlier. What does that mean for you? It doesn't have to just be with sex, but what is sexual energy? Can you expound on that?
I love this. I love sexual energy.
I like that. I mean,
because
right.
it's creation energy.
Exactly.
I mean, energy is everywhere. Like, obviously, you talk about energy all the time, but it's everywhere, and there's different kinds.
Yes.
And sexual energy, if you think about what it is, it's the kicking up before creation. One of like the most profound things
Right.
that human beings can
Correct.
do is creation.
Yes.
So it's creation energy. It's love energy.
Yes.
It's one of the most
That's why we're here.
important.
Yeah.
It's why we're here.
Yeah.
But yet we shame it, or we think it's a taboo thing to talk about sexuality or sex or
Right.
or intimacy or sexual energy.
Exactly.
And it's really powerful. It can heal people. It's really, really profound and important. And the more you're tapped into it, the more powerful people are, the more liberated people are, the more abundance there is. Because if we were able to look at life as this thing of pleasure, like, and noticing everything that is good, which we should be doing, because there's
Right.
so much beauty
There
around
is.
us. There's so
Correct.
much
Yeah.
abundance
Yes.
just everywhere.
Yes.